Remember that little $250 million bail that Sam Bankman Fried used to get out? Well, looks like the courts are trying to reveal more information on the individuals who helped pay for that bail. We have an article from Cointelegraph going over some of the new details revolving around this. I'll have a link to this article in the description, and I'll share my thoughts and my opinions at the end. I am not a financial advisor. This is not financial advice. Everything I'm sharing is my own opinion. It's my own research. I highly encourage you guys to go do your own research. And with that being said, let's go ahead and dive on into the news. Sam Bankman Fried's legal team warns of harassment and threats to parents in latest court filing. Two unidentified parties are planning to act as sureties for Sam Bankman Fried's bail, and his legal team wants to ensure they stay that way. The legal team behind former FTX Chief Executive Officer Sam Bankman Fried has petitioned a court to redact certain information on individuals acting as sureties for his $250 million bond, citing threats made against his family. In a letter dated January 3rd, filed to Judge Lewis Kaplan for the United States District Court in the Southern District of New York, Bankman Fried's legal team requested the court order, quote, names and other identifying information of two bails sureties not be disclosed to the public and redacted from bonds once they were signed on January 5th. Mark Cohen of the law firm Cohen & Gresser said that if the individual's personal information were to be available, they could be subject to similar harassment as the former FTX CEO's parents, Barbara Fried and Joseph Bankman. In recent weeks, Mr. Bankman Fried's parents have become the target of intense media scrutiny, harassment, and threats, said Cohen. Among other things, Mr. Bankman Fried's parents have received a steady stream of threatening correspondence, including communications expressing a desire that they suffer physical harm. Consequently, there is serious cause for concern that the two additional sureties would face similar intrusions on their privacy as well as threats and harassment if their names appear unredacted on their bonds or their identities are otherwise publicly disclosed. Fried and Bankman secured their son's release on bail in December with a $250 million bond using the equity of their Palo Alto home in which Bankman Fried is currently under house arrest. Cohen cited legal precedent that the lack of public disclosure around others willing to financially back Sam Bankman Fried would, quote, preserve higher values and not hamper the court's judicial power. If the two remaining sureties are publicly identified, they will likely be subjected to probing media scrutiny and potentially targeted for harassment, despite having no substantive connection to the case. Consequently, the privacy and safety of the sureties are countervailing factors that significantly outweigh the presumption of public access to the very limited information at issue. Crypto Twitter users speculated as to the identities of the unnamed sureties, tossing out names including Kevin O'Leary and hedge fund manager Bill Ackman. One suggested Binance CEO Changpeng Zhao may have helped Bankman Fried, an unlikely conclusion given the two crypto heads' clashes on social media amid FTX's bankruptcy. Bankman Fried was extradited to the United States following his arrest in the Bahamas in December. He is expected to appear in court in person on January 3rd to reportedly enter a not guilty plea, which I have a separate video already highlighting about that, for the criminal charges, which included wire fraud, securities fraud, and violations of campaign finance laws. FTX co-founder Gary Wang and former Alameda Research CEO Caroline Ellison have already pled guilty to related charges and begun cooperating with authorities. Ellison also offered a statement in December acknowledging the financial ties between FTX and Alameda at the center of prosecutors' case against Sam Bankman Fried. And in addition to this, we also have a couple other key points. So right here, we can see Autism Capital saying breaking, Sam pleads not guilty on all 8 charges. I have another video talking more about that. Judge Kaplan accepts the motion to redact the identities of the additional 2 sureties, putting up collateral for Sam's bond. Again, Judge Kaplan accepts the motion to redact the identities. And then we also see here from DB saying Sam Bankman Fried asks judge to redact the names of the 2 individuals who co-signed his bond. Who could it be? And says, Dear Judge Kaplan, on behalf of defendant Samuel Bankman Fried, we respectfully submit this letter motion to request a limited modification to one portion of the bail conditions ordered by Magistrate Judge Gorenstein at Mr. Bankman-Fried's initial appearance on December 22nd, 2022. Specifically, we request an order from the court directing that the names and other identifying information of Mr. Bankman-Fried's two remaining bail sureties, one, be redacted on the bonds they will sign, and two, not be publicly disclosed by the government. Pursuant to the order setting conditions of release, the deadline for the two additional sureties to sign their bonds is this Thursday, January 5th, 2023. We have conferred with the government on this issue and have been informed that the government takes no position on the request. So my big thing is that I think this is kind of a tough one, only in the regards that I don't want people being targeted and harassed by the general public. I'm not for that. I think that it's important that there's transparency and that we know if Kevin O'Leary was one of the people that's trying to help bail out Sam Bankman-Fried with all of this, or if it's a Democrat, right? Somebody that Sam Bankman-Fried was working with funding their pockets, or if it's a Republican that, according to Sam Bankman-Fried, he said that he also had donated to. Either or, right? I would just like to know if this is a political stunt, if this is somebody that's trying to potentially cover for themselves. Is there somebody that is heavily being influenced, trying to work in favor towards that? I think that information is really important. And then how we react to it is also equally important. Not going after these people and threatening them and harassing them tremendously, trying to go to their house and all that other calling them on their personal phones. People get crazy with this stuff. And I understand that there's a level of trying to protect these people. If you're willing to spend this kind of money to help bail out a guy that's being associated with something so incriminating, and it makes him look so bad, and it's a substantial amount of money, you want to take that risk on? I mean, you should have gone into that knowing that there's a really good chance that people are going to find out that you helped in getting that bail. So I think that the public should know this. I just think that whoever it is that donated that money should be safe, and whatever can be done to make sure that there's no acts of violence going against them. If there's any kind of repercussions in other ways, like people decide that they're not going to vote, if it's a politician, like, oh, I don't like the fact that you bailed out this guy, I'm not going to vote for you next time. You go to the ballot box and you know that there's these stances that these people did, right? I think that that's important that voters know about those kinds of things. But we don't know about who these individuals are. Very curious to find that information out. Let us know what you guys think about this down in the comments below. Again, I'm not a financial advisor. This is not financial advice. Go do your own research. Thank you so much to my Patreon supporters. A double shout out thank you to WeLoveSafeMoon.com. WeLoveSafeMoon.com, Victor Vegas, SafeMoon Oz for being higher level patrons. Also, thank you to my YouTube members for your support. If you are new to the channel, don't forget to hit subscribe, hit the thumbs up like button. God bless, and we will see you in the next episode.